So today we're going to talk about major mistakes that I've made in my solo backpacking life, and these are going to be deeper than just like, oh, like I went to the wrong place, or like this is actually like mistakes that like turned into life lessons. I always think about things in a deeper way and going beyond surface level and just overall closing the cycle on life lessons that I had to learn, and these are major ones that travel had to teach me. No matter how it happened or what was going on in my life at the time, it needed to come to the surface. If you're starting a backpacking lifestyle or just changing your life, it doesn't have to apply to just travel. I definitely recommend listening all the way to the end. They're all going to tie together and are very significant to me. So yeah. I even wrote them down in my journal called Solo, which is a solo travel guide. It's for people that want to travel in a deeper way, a more meaningful way. I even have pages about finding the right accommodation and travel rituals and navigation basics and everything, so I highly recommend checking it out. Yes, it's on Amazon. Yes, I did self-publish it. I also have some coffee in my favorite mug. Thank you, Goya, for giving this to me like 6 years ago. I still drink out of it all the time when I'm home. So, anger towards my hometown. This is weird because I never really looked at it as anger until maybe the second or third time I came home after long-term trips, right? I'm gone for like 6 or 7 months and then I get back here, and I would feel this resentment towards not an individual, not like people, but it was more just the place. I'd be so angry, like questioning, why has nothing changed? Why is everything the same? Why do I feel internally so different and so shifted in my identity, and everything is the same? Well, like, what about this? Like, you know, my friend's moving away or this person's getting married. Yes, there's differences, but the overall energy of your hometown remains the same, and that is because these are my roots. This is not some place that I have like spawned to out of my solo travels. This is my roots. I've grown up and I've seen this place for many, many years. I think that was almost disrespectful in a way to go at it with such resentment. And I had to flip the script. I'm so grateful that my hometown energy remains the same. I'm grateful that I can come back and not everything is completely like shifted and different. I'm grateful that I can come back here and my parents allow me to, like I'm back in their house, you know, like that's something I can be grateful for. So I stopped looking at it with such negativity and being like, well, I'm different. I'm changed. Like my perspective is completely different. Like, no, I'm grateful I can come back here and be back in this familiar space. I did write a Substack article about coming home and like dissolving the idea of homesickness. I recommend that article if you're looking to look at home differently and not miss home as much when you're solo backpacking. I will link my Substack. I do believe changing my perspective that my hometown is this familiar place that I can rest and like, you know, set my shoulders back and just be like, oh, like take a deep breath and realize like, okay, this is the energy of this space and I'm welcome back in it, and I can sit here and I can leave again, and I'm going to, you know? So that was a really big one for me. So the first backpacking trip that was like really long term and hopping around different countries, I was in Europe, I was in Southeast Asia. I remember in the beginning being like, okay, like I want to get a gym membership. I want to keep track of like, you know, how much I'm working out and like what I'm eating, because that's just who I am at my core. Like I've always been, I want to say like health focused, but just someone that values that, and I like to take care of my body and think about those things. And literally within the first week of being at this new hostel and volunteering in Spain, and like I started to realize that that was going to be a major obstacle for me of prioritizing my health. And I did get a few like gym passes when I was there, and then still later on like I would try and go on runs. Like I started volunteering in Tenerife and went to Paris, then I went to Thailand. So you can understand, like I was hopping around, and I think changing your environment so much, starting over and over again, and that means you have to find the right gym. Okay, then you kind of have to reset, you have to meet new people, you have to learn the area, right? And so I lost track of my health because, I mean, especially with budget backpacking at the time too, I was much more of a budget backpacker. I was not eating the right things. I was not moving my body. I think it was when I was in Paris, like I was eating a lot of like croissants. So many like pastries, and like I love those. Like this is nothing against that, but it was just like every day, like the cheapest thing I could find, and I started to feel absolutely terrible. Then later on, a few months later in Southeast Asia, I was in the Philippines and it was super hot, right? It was just so humid out. You'd be walking around outside and you're instantly tired from just like the heat, the sun. And I would try and go on runs and I like couldn't, you know, because it was just so exhausting. I did start to see a plummet in my health. And so a huge lesson for me in solo backpacking and just traveling long term, it is not a short trip. It's a time in your life where you need to be also staying consistent with your routine regardless of what you're doing. Okay, there's a pub crawl on Friday. Well, I also like need to go to the gym because I haven't been to the gym in a week, you know. It's like there's things that I want to prioritize for my well-being before all the socializing and craziness. I had to learn. I know that there's a lot that goes on in solo backpacking. I know the community, I know the lifestyle. But my health, that should be number one, because that's how I'm moving around. That's how I'm getting from place to place. That's how I'm able to navigate these different countries and cities with the right mindset, the right amount of energy. And so health has been huge for me. Yeah, I do recommend trying to stay consistent with that. Okay. Rushing the process because of people, places, things. If you are rushing the process because of specific like outside factors, you are going to become a very restless and like unsettled person. And like I remember I've traveled with people before. Obviously I do all solo backpacking, but there were times, especially in my earlier years with backpacking, that I would try and keep up with people, or even watching people on social media. I'd be like, okay, this person is like going like to like a new city every week, like I need to try and keep up with that. I've learned about my personality and the way that I work. I actually prefer slow travel. And that's just because, again, and what I write a lot about in the solo travel guide, you have to learn about the traveler that you are, right? Because we're all different. We're trying to force different things and be like other people, then that's what leads to burnout. I've been burnt out many different times in solo backpacking, and sometimes it does send me home. I highly recommend doing a little bit of inner work, or even just testing out different trips with solo travel and being like, do I prefer slow travel or fast travel? Are you someone that makes decisions very quickly? Or are you someone that needs time to really think about it and feel into it like I do? Doing some inner work has really helped me realize that I'm not trying to keep up with anyone. I'm just traveling my own way. I am my own traveler, and I like to meet people that are similar to me with that. But at the same time, like, I'm glad that we're not all the same, and I shouldn't be trying to keep up with people that just do travel differently, do life differently. I mean, even go into the other aspects of, like, I'm not a corporate girly, obviously, so it's like I'm not trying to keep up with them. Go on to the next. So unfortunately, I'm going to talk about travel romance because it needs to be talked about. I could make a whole video. I wish everyone knew my lore. Travel romance is something that I'm familiar with, and it's when you meet someone and either you both are traveling, or it's just some sort of scenario where it's this short-term, very lustful, very romantic period of time. Travel is something when you're outside of your hometown, when you're in a different country, when you're in a new space, when you're in a new city, and you're just so far away from home, it is supposed to feel like a whirlwind. It's supposed to sweep you off your feet. And so younger me in the backpacking world, I would get very swept away, and there's nothing wrong with it. I think if you're a lover girl like me, we all do it, but unfortunately, there's some really hard lessons to learn in that. Too much too soon can be a really intense lesson for a lot of people. Let's talk about just even like people that you meet as well. Like, you're gonna get close very quickly, and that's beautiful because I'm someone that values closeness and depth with people, you know. Time also is something that we need to keep in mind, right? So you can learn so much about somebody in like 1 week, you know, you can spend every second with them. You like are completely blown away with like how connected you feel with this person. And trust me, this is something that, you know, I've done many times. When things kind of come to the surface, right? Like, let's say you part ways and there's just this realization of like, wow, that wasn't the same. That wasn't what I thought it was. Well, there's a reason for that. Time needs to do its thing. We need to, like, you know, to really truly get to know someone and know them at their core. Unfortunately, that takes time. And in travel, we don't understand that. You know, you can think about a connection that you made within 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, and think it was completely different than it actually is. And I don't want to say that's bad, but at the same time, that's something significant that we need to learn in travel romance. I don't believe that means that it shouldn't happen. Like, I love it, you know, I'm a lover, like, I love the romance of it. I think it's a beautiful thing to get to know people at such a deep level in a short amount of time. It's given me more clarity over the years. The rose-colored glasses have come off. Time needs to do its thing. I would say what your job is to do is to enjoy every moment and also have such awareness and presence in it as well. I want to remember all the memories. I want to have so much love and compassion for the other person or people that I'm with, but at the same time, I want to be realistic with myself, and I also want to protect my peace. That's not always the most enjoyable thing, right? But it's the truth, and that's something that's really going to benefit us in the future. Kind of on that same topic is thinking that people are going to stay the same. I have re-met certain lovers or just people again, like after traveling with them or meeting them in different countries. That's not a bad thing. I think also we need to have a lot of like major emphasis on that people are different. Like, I'm completely different. I'm in my hometown right now and I feel like a different person, right, than when I'm traveling. After a lot of realizations, like, I would never assume that someone is going to be the same in different places, in different settings. It can be a hard lesson as well, like, you know, going months with expecting to see someone again or planning to meet up again, which is an amazing thing. And we have to realize how evident change is in our lives. This is the takeaway right now. When you meet an individual, you are meeting them at a chapter in their life, right? We're all at different chapters. We're all on this different journey individually, and you're meeting them at that point in second. And that's beautiful to recognize. But do you think down the road they're still going to be in that chapter? No. They're going to have their own experiences. They're going to be thinking about things differently. They're going to be creating their new beliefs and values. And I think I was kind of collecting this idea of who this person is and just is. And then I didn't realize is like, oh, who is this person also becoming and turning into, and who will this person be? Kind of recognizing that people are changing. We're all on our different paths and journeys. Kind of embracing that. I shouldn't even say mistakes, because these are like actually just lessons that shifted me forever and end up like being a beautiful thing to realize. My last topic is burnout, and I remember when I got burnt out for the first time. So in the Philippines, I got really sick. I was hospitalized. I thought I had dengue fever, and it was very scary. But I remember the weeks leading up to that, when I was spending time in the Philippines, I was feeling so drained. I would wake up in my hostel bed, and I was working at a hostel at the time, and I wouldn't want to socialize with anyone. I would literally feel like I just wanted to be in my cocoon and just hibernate. When I did officially get sick and I had to stay in bed, it was like 9 days of just like really intense sickness. I felt like the universe was trying to say like, you need to go home. Because over and over again, I had like a voice in the back of my head just being like, okay, like it's time. I was just kind of avoiding the fact of like, no, I'm burnt out and I'm feeling like this is like the right time to have some relaxation and go see my family. And I was avoiding that, and I was forcing myself to stay out there backpacking. And I want to make it very clear that if you try and do that, it's going to taint your travel experience. When you're forcing yourself to be doing things that you don't want to do, it changes your perspective. It changes how you show up in the world. It changes how you're going to be socializing with people. You will know when it's necessary to go home, and avoiding that will affect the experience majorly. So that is all for now. If you guys have any recommendations for videos that you want to see or different topics that you want me to cover, please let me know. Please like and subscribe. And yeah,